Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The staggering financial cost facing Generation Rent was revealed today. First-time buyers in England face a rental bill of more than £50,000 before they can even get a foot on the ladder. Figures from the Association of Residential Letting Agents show that tenants will be renting for an average of 13 years and last year spent 22% of their wages on rent. Here's Paul McNamara.
An ordinary mid-morning for Holly. Spot of tidying up and settle down to peruse some properties. Properties that she may never be able to afford. Her family aren't badly off, but like 40% of renters, home ownership now feels like just a dream. Not that the dream home is particularly outlandish.
An ideal home, just a little place with a bedroom for myself and my husband and one for my child and the next one coming along, and a living space. It doesn't have to be anything luxurious or fancy, it just has to be a practical home.
But between rent, rising bills and raising a toddler, saving a deposit for that simple home is out of reach.
Sometimes you have to come to that realisation and acceptance that perhaps owning is not a possibility. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there is an element where...
Is that what you think now? Do you think
just
maybe you might never be able to buy somewhere?
I've kind of come to that conclusion.
So just how bad is it for first-time buyers? Well, according to new statistics, by the time a first-time buyer eventually affords their new home, they've already spent £53,000 on rent. And it's getting worse. If you're an 18-year-old watching this, by the time you can afford somewhere, you'll have to spend more than £64,000 on rent. But of course, on top of all that rent, you've also got to generate a deposit, which is now, on average, £33,000. So it's hardly surprising that 2/5 of all renters now believe they will never be able to afford to buy a home of their own. That's far too pessimistic, say the government, who promise a flood of cheap houses on the way.
The government is determined to turn Generation Rent into Generation Buy. Government initiatives have already helped nearly 270,000 people to buy, and we're going even further to deliver 200,000 new starter homes, available at a 20% discount to first-time buyers.
But for many, those measures aren't nearly enough.
I think the government has finally woken up to just how hard it is for many people. The problem is that their solutions just don't go far enough. We've got gimmicky schemes like starter homes that help, frankly, a very affluent few buy their own home without doing anything to help those of us in kind of more ordinary incomes.
So if you are on an ordinary income and desperate, how do you get that first home? For most, hard work and sacrifice.
When you already don't live a particularly luxurious lifestyle, I don't go out partying, I don't go out on fancy holidays, I don't buy, posh cars and things like that. You then have to cut back even more. And it's a short-term loss for a very long-term gain. You've got to think of it that way. Hopefully.